Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday of the week before spring break. Although, man, the weather yesterday, whoo, that wasn't so springy. Fear not. Saturday's supposed to be 58, so we should be feeling a little more spring-like at the end of this week. All right, today we're gonna do a little bit more of the same that we did yesterday, kind of, and then also I'm gonna add a little fun activity that I'll just explain first, called the World Gods March Madness. Um, and that's the first thing I want you to do today. So here's the thing, a little March Madness 101. You might have heard that term. If you haven't, here's what it's all about. It's the most amazing time of the year for me. I love basketball, college basketball especially. I don't like the pros, but I just really, 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 really love this tournament. And so what happens is in college basketball, 64 teams are invited to a tournament, and they play games against each other, and it's one loss and you're out. So it's single elimination. So every team that loses is gone. Now, 64 teams is a lot of teams. So you've got a mix of like super crazy powerhouses that are always in the tournament. And then you got some teams that have never been there before. So like really small schools. I love it because pretty much every tournament, at least one really tiny school beats one of those like heavy duty, crazy favored teams. And so the little person gets to take down the big dog. And I love that. And it's exciting. And the whole nation shares in that. So anyway, this tournament looks like this. So you got basically it's everyone's seeded, right? So a number one seed means you're really, really good. A 16 seed means like, you are a small school. You haven't played that many people. You're lucky to be there. One time in history, a 16 seed beat a 1 seed. It happened about 3 years ago. So it can always happen. Now, here's the crazy thing. So when a team wins, so this right here, I'll blow it up a little bit. Oh, sorry. This team on top, if they win, they move on. Then they play another team that wins. And then it keeps going until we get down to two teams and then one team. So think about that, how big of a tournament. 62 goes to 36. Or sorry, 64 goes to 32, goes to 16, goes to 8, goes to 4, goes to 2, goes to 1. There's your that's your math there. So in honor of March Madness, I'm going to throw at you World Gods March Madness. Da, 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 da. So here's the thing. I was a big, huge fan of mythology when I was a kid. And mythology is that really interesting world because we're talking about nonfiction, right? Well, mythology is about taking fiction and making it seem like it's explaining something for real. It was a science to people. So I'm gonna pit world gods from all over the planet, from all types of cultures. I'm gonna have them go against each other, and you're gonna vote to see which god takes the crown. So today, which is Tuesday, is round one. All right. So you're gonna vote. I'm gonna have you spend about 10 minutes, and you're gonna go through. And what happens is I have gods versus each other, and I've seeded it. So usually the high seed's like a 1, and a low seed is the higher number. I know that's weird. So a 1's a high seed, 8 is a low seed. Usually that means like 1's supposed to win, but sometimes there are upsets. So like right here in round one of the matchups is Zeus of the Greek gods, king of the gods, the king of the Olympians, versus Thor, who's a Norse god, so a different part of the country or different part of the world. And he's an 8 seed. So he's really, honestly, not supposed to take down Zeus. But if your votes like put him in the winning, then he would go on to be here. So he would take it, and it would be an upset. An upset is when a low seed beats a high seed. Great. So that means Zeus loses, he's gone, and Thor moves on. Now, here's the thing about this, just so you know. So you got to do a little bit of reading. So I'm going to give you each of these seeds, and I want you to read who they are, and then take a look at the picture, right? We got Zeus and Thor. There's some explanation. What I need you to do is, this is the ELA part of this, is pick one of these to win, and then give me a short answer of why. Right? You got to have an explanation. That's the thing about ELA. And you notice that there's a lot of these, right? So we got Aztec, we got Greek, We got Filipino, we got native gods going against each other. We have African gods, Egyptian, and I say Africa, I mean West Africa. And then we have Chinese, we have more native, we have Mayan. So we kind of have, virtually every continent covered. All right. So what I'd like you to do is go through this, spend some time. These are fun, I think, and pick winners. Okay. That's the World God Challenge. That's step one for today. Okay. After that, your activity number two, technically activity number one, is going to be I'm going to give you these short paragraphs on a mysterious murder. All right. So right here is a mystery. I want you to read this, and then in a paragraph, I want you to explain how the officer knew that this man was the killer. So what we're talking about here is that this is a fun little like mystery that you have to like explain. These are problem solution paragraphs. So the problem is there's an answer to this riddle, and I want you to kind of answer that problem with a solution that you think explains the situation. Okay. Here's another one, like the watery death, right? So read this, and then it asks you how you think this murder was done. So it's another problem solution paragraph. The problem is, I want you to think about how this has a solution. The solution is you explaining what the solution is. Okay. So those are two paragraphs. Okay. And I've kind of guided you with starter sentences in those. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do is I want to have you read another thing. This is Bronson Koenig. He played for Wisconsin, and he went to the national title game, and he actually almost got to the Elite Eight with another team. He's one of my all-time favorite basketball players for Wisconsin basketball. That's my favorite team. Okay. Now he's Native American. And Bronson Koenig is one of the few pure Native American basketball players in NCAA Division I history. It's not a very common thing, especially in the big schools. But anyway, you might have heard of the name Standing Rock. So Standing Rock is actually still going. It's out in the Dakotas. And Standing Rock is a place where this company was trying to put an oil pipeline, and it was going to cut right through very sacred native lands, and it was going to affect the water supply for native peoples out there. So Standing Rock is where a bunch of people came, and they set up protest camps. And they said, we're not leaving until you don't do this. This is not okay. This disrupts our sacred land. This disrupts our water. And Bronson Koenig, as a member, he's going to college and he's getting ready for the NCAA tournaments and basketball season. He decides he's got to do something. So being Native American himself, he goes out and joins the cause. And he actually ends up teaching a lot of the Native kids like how to play basketball. So pretty awesome dude. This is his story. So I've linked it into the Schoology. I want you to read his story today. And then I want you to answer a different kind of paragraph. So this is compare contrast, right? Yesterday we read about the Trail of Tears. Today I want you to read about Bronson Koenig. So notice my questions are different today. All right. This is a compare contrast. You're going to compare Bronson Koenig's story, written just a few years ago, 2016, with the soldier who was written in 1890. So you're going to compare and contrast those. So answer these 4 bullet point questions, not in bullet points, in a paragraph, not in bullet points. I don't want you just to answer them. So I'm going to write this down here. Not in bullet point answers. Okay. So there's your deal. So number 1, complete all your work in your reader's notebook. Share a picture. Actually, technically, I should do a step 1, complete World Gods March Madness. Woohoo! Then you're going to complete all paragraph. Complete first paragraph. in your reader's notebook, then share it as a discussion. Then you're going to read the Bronson Koenig article, okay? Then you're going to share that. And then lastly, if you have any time left over, you've done some reading today, but read some more. Okay, there you go, people. That's the scoop for today. Tomorrow is a catch-up day, and so get on top of your work. Make sure you go into spring break with all your work done. All right, we'll see you. Bye.